You're a CFI based at Hawkins Field in Jackson, Mississippi. You do lots of instrument instruction in the school's Archers and also teach in a variety of individuals planes. Recently, an opportunity arose to ferry a Grumman Tiger based on the field to its new buyer in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You studied the POH and completed a 1-hour checkout flight with the seller. Your main takeaway from the checkout was that you're going to enjoy this trip in the Tiger. The ability to fly with the canopy partially open is especially neat. The purchase was pending a pre-buy inspection that would also give the Tiger a fresh annual. That happened while the trip details were finalized and you made space on your schedule to deliver the plane with a few spare days for any delays. A few minor items came up on the inspection and annual, but nothing that couldn't be dealt with later by the new owner. So the Tiger was rolled out of the shop and you were given the keys. Your first planned stop is Paducah, Kentucky. Weather is forecast to be perfect VFR all the way there, but you don't want to delay longer than needed as you want those spare days in case something comes up en route or when you arrive in Michigan. Winds are 020 at 10, gusting 20 as you take off runway 34, turn northbound, and level at 1,500 feet to remain below Jackson International's Class Charlie outer shelf. 6 miles later, forward visibility drops to 0 as the windshield is covered with oil. You immediately make a left 180 to point back toward home while declaring an emergency on tower frequency. Tower clears you to land any runway. You're pretty much aligned with runway 16, but the view is completely obscured by oil. The engine seems to be running fine, but how long can that last? Because of the left crosswind, you're tracking to the runway with the nose pointed left. Because the nose is already left of the runway heading, a left slip won't be enough for you to see the runway. A full slip with left rudder and right wing low would just make the runway visible out the right window. But then you'd need to reverse the slip to land with the left crosswind. Of course, you just need to get the plane on the ground, and it doesn't need to be pretty. Maybe you should forget about trying to see the runway. The CAP 150 autopilot could fly an RNAV approach with LPV guidance down to the pavement. But you'd still have to flare, and either straighten out at the last minute or land in a crab. You've practiced 0-0 landings on the sim in your downtime at the flight school, including using synthetic vision on your iPad, but you've never done it in real life. Then you have another idea. What if you opened the canopy fully, unbuckled, and stood up to get above the oily windscreen? That would solve the visibility problem, but it would be crazy, right? If you knew you had enough time, you'd prefer to land on runway 34 with a headwind. Maybe you do. The engine is running, with oil pressure and temperature at the bottom and top of the green band, respectively. You could add a bit of power to hold altitude, enter a downwind for 3-4, and fly a curving approach to keep the runway in sight as long as possible. Then again, if you have time, why not fly a bit farther to Jackson International? It has a bigger runway, with fire and rescue on the field in case this doesn't end well. How will you get this Tiger on the ground? 1. Land straight in on runway 16, using a right slip for better visibility. Remove the slip at the last second for the blind crosswind landing. 2. Load the RNAV runway 16 approach and fly it to a 0-0 landing like you've practiced in the sim. Use the autopilot to handle lateral and vertical navigation. Supplement with iPad synthetic vision. 3. Open the canopy, unbuckle, and stand up. Land on runway 16. 4. Maintain altitude and enter a left downwind for runway 34. Fly a curving approach to land on runway 34. 5. Head for Jackson Medgar International for a bigger runway and more services. Land as you see fit when you get there. Analyze the resources, and make your choice.